How we doing? So, today we've got a question in from Andrea who says, "Hi Dave, I hope all is good with you." It is, thank you very much for asking. "I'm getting back into kettlebell. What do you think about the Simple and Sinister program by Pavel? Cheers, Andrea." Good question. Good question. Right. Simple and Sinister is, for all intents and purposes, it's a rewrite, it's an upgrade of the program minimum from the Enter the Kettlebell book. And if you've been around the kettlebell world for any length of time, like over a decade, there's a good chance Enter the Kettlebell was the book that you went out and bought, that you followed, that you read, that you studied. Back in the day, when kettlebells were relatively unknown, most of the information we were getting came from Pavel, the Dragon Door website run by John Duquesne, which ran Pavel at that time. And Pavel's books were our introduction to kettlebells. He had the Russian Kettlebell Challenge, which I think was the first book, and then Enter the Kettlebell was the first of his sort of classic Pavel-style manuals. Really nice book. In it, you had two programs. You had the program minimum, and then you had the rite of passage. We'll talk about the rite of passage later. The program minimum was Turkish get-ups and swings. Fast forward to, I think, 2019, and we have a book released, and Pavel's left Dragon Door. He's now on his own with this Strong First. And we have a book released called Simple and Sinister. Ooh, scary. And guess what? Swings, Turkish get-ups. Not quite the same set and rep scheme, not quite the same parameters, but the same two exercises. Are they good exercises? Yeah, they're fantastic. Is it a good program? Yes. Is it better than program minimum? Arguably. A program is only as good as the goals it helps you achieve, but you've got one piece of kit, so one of them, one kettlebell. You need a bit of floor space, enough to lie down. If you can lie down, you've got all the space you need. So for me, I need a 2x1, 2 meter by 1 meter, bit of floor space, one kettlebell, and that's me. That's most kettlebell work done. Basically, if you can lie a yoga mat down, you can do Simple and Sinister. Pretty much. Two lifts. And two lifts is really what Pavel he's made a massive career out of. It's amazing. Look through all his books. Enter the Kettlebell. You start out with the swing and the get up. You move on to you learn the snatch and the clean and press. Power to the people. Deadlift and bench press. Naked warrior. Pistol squat and one arm push up. And so on, so on. Oh, quick and the dead is a more recent one. Push ups and swings. Or just snatch on its own. Like Pavel really propagates this idea of minimalist training using 1-2 movements, single piece of kit. Bish, bash, bosh. It's pretty good. I like it. What you really need to do with Pavel's work to really benefit, to really understand it, is to read between the lines a little bit. And if you read across his books, it should jump out at you how clearly he's trying to get through principles. And I've said this for years. I can't remember who told me, but methods are many, principles are few. So all Pavel's methods that he propagated, that he talks about, really revolve around a small set of principles. Now, I think he's doing a better job of getting that through since he's moved away from Dragon Dawn, is his strong first thing. I can't speak too much about that, but once you understand the idea of the principles that underpin training, then the methodology doesn't really matter. You pick the methodology that suits you. But let's get back to the sort of the problem with minimalist training. Swings and get-ups, yeah, they're going to tick a lot of boxes. It's good. Minimalist style programming. There's two lift minimalist programming. As much as I love it, I do think there's a slight problem with it. And the problem is what we call movement vocabulary. If you're only training two movements, there's not a lot of movement vocabulary. When I got the best results doing these minimalist Pavel style two lift programs, I've done the minimum, I've done the rite of passage, I've done the naked warrior, I've done power to the people. They're great. But where I got the most results from them was when I was doing a lot of other stuff. So I was doing martial arts, Kempo and Philippine martial arts daily. I was cycling, I was running, I was moving around an awful lot. I was teaching martial arts as well, so I was moving around an awful lot. So being able to get a full body workout done in 20 minutes, two lifts, no time, relatively low effort, but quite a good return. But I think it's because I was rounded out with a lot of other movements, got great results, great progress. Going back to that sort of training now, when I'm not doing as much, my life is set up very, very differently at the moment, and I'm not training, moving around to the same extent. I don't think it suits anymore. I think movement vocabulary is really important, and keeping a wide vocabulary, a wide exposure to many, many movements is necessary. I've said it before, and I'll probably say it again and again, that in my own work, I believe my 100 rep warm-ups, which are what we use on lunchtime, is probably the real diamond of everything I've done. That's probably the real key, of the most valuable thing of all the programs and warm-ups and workouts and everything I've ever created. Those 100 rep warm-ups, and it's a playlist for them on this channel, are some of the most valuable. That's what changes people. That's what reconnects them to the body more so than the lifting does. So where are we at now? We said we come back to the rite of passage. Now, that rite of passage, that's a phenomenal program. Simple and Sinister does a get up followed by swings. So you're kind of moving, you're not working fast, you're motoring. So you do a get up, you do a set of swings, you do a get up, you do a set of swings, boom, 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 until you've accumulated. I think it's the same. It's like 10 get ups and 50 or 100 swings, something like that. And you're pushed to go relatively heavy, which is fine. As long as technique and control allows that. Rite of passage is where we got introduced to this idea of a ladder protocol. And you do your clean and press, And if you want, clean and press and pull-ups on this ladder protocol. And then you do a block of snatches. But a ladder is quite simple. You do 1 rep, you take a short break, you do a pair of reps, you do a short break, and you do a triplet, 3 reps, you take a short break. That's one sequence. You can call that 1 set. Yeah. Then you might do 3 rounds of that. Okay. So you're getting 3, 4, 5, 6, 12, 18 total reps. Now, what we're going to do is each week you're going to add a rung to that ladder. So we've just done 1, 2, 3. So now we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Then we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. You might do 1, 2, 3, 3 times. Then you might go to 4 times to 5 times. Then you might start adding rungs to the ladder. So 1, 2, 3, 5 times becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 times. When you get to a 5-step ladder for 5 rounds, that's 75 reps, I think. Is it 75 reps? Can't remember. Do the maths. Simple enough. That's a lot of volume. Well, you've never gone over 5 reps, but it's a lot of volume. It makes the weight you're playing with all of a sudden feel very, very light. If you have the patience to follow that program properly with pretty much whatever lift, 3 days a week, hard day, medium day, light day. So the hard day drives the program. So everything, the medium, the light are 1 rung or 1 set less than the previous day. So hard day is where you try and push forward, and the medium day will be a set less, and the light day will be a set less again. Which means you start out 1, 2, 3 by 3. That's the hard day. The easy day you might just do 1, 2 by 3, and on the light day you might just do 1 by 3. Yeah? Or the medium day you might go 1, 2, 3, but just do it twice. And the light day 1, 2, 3, but just do it once. But then as you go on, when you end up at the final week, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 5 in your hard day. But that could be 1, 2, 3, 4 by 5, and then 1, 2, 3 by 5 accordingly. I've done that with the clean and press and the pull-up. That was way back when. It was the first time I pressed the 32 was after doing that with the 24. And 32 went up dead easy. I've had lads do it with chins and dips and got phenomenally strong. In fact, doing it with a lad, and he was doing pull-ups and he was doing dips on the rings. Ended up doing them with a ridiculous weight hanging off them because he was rehabbing a lower body injury. So we just did an upper body ladder as our upper body work while we focused on lower body rehab. And he accidentally managed to do a muscle up one day in the park. It really works. Ladder training really, really works. When I was crippled with back injury, I used that ladder protocol on 1-arm push-ups and pull-ups for a while because my lower body was shot to pieces. I couldn't use it. And then once I started to be able to move a bit easier, I stood up on a box and did very partial range pistol squats, used the ladder protocol. Every time I hit that top, the 5-step ladder by 5, I went a little bit deeper, used a slightly higher box so I could squat a little bit deeper. Rite of passage, phenomenal bit of programming. So minimalist training can work, really can. Rite of passage, I think, is phenomenal. And what I do think, beginners are going to get great results doing a minimalist program. especially if you really tune into listening to your body. It's to feeling, figuring out and feeling how your body is creating each lift. Don't just grind and mindlessly work out. You've got two movements, so you can go deep into those movements. That is the advantage of minimalist type training. As you roll into that Turkish get-up, you can feel how your scapula engages and how your chest opens, the back takes a load. You can feel how your core starts to generate the sit-up portion. You can feel any restriction in your hips as you swing that leg through into the kneeling position and to stand up. The swing, every time you sit back, you can sit back to really find and engage those hamstrings, to really dial in your breathing pattern, your rhythm. You can go deep into how your body is moving to generate these movements. That has real value, especially early on as a beginner. As a busy person who's doing a lot of other stuff, you make great progress on these. As somebody sort of in the middle who has training experience, maybe is too busy or whatever else and isn't accessing or isn't able to spend a lot of time doing a lot of other stuff, then I think you're going to plateau pretty hard on most minimal programs. I'm going to say again, rite of passage is possibly the exception. So, what do I think about Simple and Sinister by Pavel? I think it's a good program, Andrea. I think it's a great stopgap program. I don't think it might be one you're going to be on for a long time. But if, and this is the best thing about Pavel stuff, it's so short, it's so concise, it's so focused, it's almost difficult to talk yourself out of doing it. So Andrea says, I'm getting back into kettlebell. We can read between the lines of it. Does this mean we're getting back into training after a gap? I don't know. We can make an assumption there. We'll not bother. But if it is a person who's coming back to training, if you can get a frequent habit of working out, of these short, sharp training sessions done frequently, and you regain the habit of training, you've opened the door then to regular training, regular fitness practice, and moving from a foundation, simple and sinister type program to whatever you want to after that. And that is the value of that program. So, excuse me. Right, YouTube, you know what to do. Like and subscribe. Leave me a comment if you've got feedback on this episode. If you have questions or queries you want to send in for future episodes, let me know. Let me know. Alrighty. And if you're interested in my training methods, get in touch. We have availability for online training. But until then, I'll see you in the next one.